Day 91, Key West. So that was the day where I got my very early start, and I did another check on my list, which was the southernmost point in the contiguous 48 states. So you set out driving down Highway 1 that connects through a series of bridges and causeways the Florida Keys all the way up until Key West. And on the way there, actually there was one more stop that I wanted to make in the little island, in the little key called Geiger, next to the little settlement of Boca Chica. It's supposed to have had a very famous nudist beach. So I got there and I walked all the way down to the beach, which is bordered on one side by some kind of a Navy Air Force facility with jets and helicopters flying around and do not trespass sign. And yes, it had a sliver of a beach, most of it marked as being government property, and did not look like a place where you would want to go skinny dipping, but they had some very cute graffiti on the sidewalk. And then you continue driving down Highway 1, and the thing is, it's beautiful, right? So you kind of can't help but pressing on the gas pedal a little more and a little more, and they really don't want people speeding. So every couple of miles or every dozen miles or so, they have a police car sitting on the side of the road. And of course you slow down, and as you pass it, you realize that no one is inside. And then someone told me not only that, a lot of times these are not real cars. These are just very realistically looking cutouts, like cardboard cutouts. And sometimes they even put up fake lights on it and hook it up to some electricity and run them just to make people slow down. And then I made it to Key West. It took me forever to find parking, and then you actually have to stand in line to take a picture with the southernmost point sign. But I did that, and there were a few other things I wanted to do in Key West, but you just can't find parking anywhere, and walking is not an option because it was very hot and very humid. And I actually wanted to go to the gym and work out and take a shower. And as I pulled up and walked into the gym, there were a couple of guys wearing ankle bracelets, like being monitored because they're like under house arrest or something. And I was like, never mind, some other time. So that was my experience in Key West. And of course, you also get to see the sign where the famous Highway 1 starts and ends. Way back, I made the stop at the visitor center of the Everglades National Park. And I've been in the Everglades before, so I was not very gung-ho on doing it again, especially since it was about to start raining, like with the heat and the humidity, it was about to start raining. But I just walked around the visitor center a little bit and looked at some of the exhibits, and I guess this is something to be left for next time and better weather. And my last stop of the day is this very funky and very interesting place called the Coral Castle. So, Latvian guy named Edward Litskinen gets left at the altar a day before the wedding by his 16-year-old bride. And he's heartbroken, so he goes to America, where he contracts tuberculosis and is told that if he wants to make it even a couple of years more, he needs to move to a warmer climate. So he goes to Florida and he rents a plot of land. And starting from the early 20s, he begins all by himself to dig up and chisel and manipulate and install these huge many-ton pieces of coral rock in order to build a castle complete with furniture and all kinds of moving installations that he dedicates to his unrequited love. And he is barely over 5 feet tall, and he has tuberculosis, and he does it all by himself. Nobody knows how. He claims to have discovered the hidden properties of magnetism and mastered perpetual motion and discovered the secret to building pyramids. But in any case, claims aside, he built all this all by himself. And the stone rocking chairs actually rock. And the stone gates actually swing, and you can move them by pushing on it just with one hand. that is like completely amazing. So if you're ever around that area, I highly recommend visiting it. And day 92, I actually spent in Palm Beach, just relaxing and doing laundry and errands. But I had a very funny experience at the gym there. Because first of all, it was the biggest collection of buff elderly people that I've seen in my life. And when I talk buff, I'm not just talking in shape. They were legitimately buffed up, these guys, and they were all over 70. So kudos for them, and I wish more people could be in such great shape even before they hit 70. And another thing was the Italians. It looked like a whole bunch of extras just walked out of an Italian mafia movie and got to the gym, and they were complete with the hair and the tracksuits and the jewelry. And I was looking at them and cracking up because it was just such an epitome of this American Italian mafia person. So that was my day 91 and 92 in Florida, leading up to another great adventure on day 93.